Hi everybody, it's Dr. B. I'm back again with a reading for the shadow. This first reading I'm going to do is the shadow self conversation with the for the divine masculine. And I'm using the Oracle of Shadows deck, which I just got and I absolutely adore. But as you may or may not know, the shadows are the unresolved inner conflicts and unexpressed emotions that people have. This is from Jungian psychology, Carl Jung, archetypal psychology that that has there's different archetypes. There's the for men and there. Anyway, I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of that. But the long and short of it is that we all have shadow sides. These are the parts, the disowned parts of our unconscious, the things about ourselves that we don't want to know. But the things about ourselves that we don't want to know are also the things that can keep us stuck. So if you're not dealing with your shadow side, if you're not dealing with your fears and with your unconscious patternings and all of that stuff, then you're going to have a hard time. And as Carl Jung said, we call the let me think, how is it? Until we make the unconscious conscious, it will dictate our life, and we'll call it fate. And so we're going to dig into the divine masculine's shadow. So who are you? The first card is like I'm using the shadow self conversation tarot spread. And this is the question. First position is, who are you? It's an invitation. What do you need to tell me? 2, manifest. I mean, this is not what you need to tell me, what you need to tell the divine masculine. What has the divine masculine been missing? Transformation. What has the divine masculine been ignoring? The messenger. What does the divine masculine need from his shadow self? Regret. At what time in the divine masculine's life was the shadow self born? Imagination. I'm going to jump into the interpretation after I lay the cards out. How did the shadow self grow? Vigilance. What lost part of the divine masculine does the shadow self represent? Trickery. What lesson must the divine masculine learn? Spellbound. And how can the divine masculine understand himself better through his shadow side? Delusion. Cool. This is exciting. All right, ready to jump in? Let's go. So, who is the shadow side for the divine masculine? It's imagination. Invitation. So look at this card. It's kind of eerie, but it's really pretty. How I read this is that the shadow side is it is delivering the invitation to life. So this is the aspect of the divine masculine that is unawakened. Okay, it's the part of him that he's been shutting down and pushing down because he doesn't want to deal with his shit, because dealing with your shit is not fun. I mean, yeah, it's not. It's just not. People think that if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So the shadow self is that aspect of the divine masculine that has been calling to him, that has been saying like, hey, wake up, man, like you can't continue on this path, like this isn't serving anybody. And it's that that's the piece that I'm getting, is it's like this shadow self has been sending these invitations, it's like maybe with dreams or nightmares or something, where he's been trying to get the attention of the divine masculine to say like, buddy, it's time to wake up. And that's who he is. The shadow self is Okay, this is just what came through. It's sort of the part of him that fears transformation, that fears what we would call, death or transformation. That's what he is. He's that part of him, that aspect that is in touch with the temporality of life. Okay? And the second position is, what is it that the shadow self, needs to tell the divine masculine? And it's manifest. It's like, man, it's time to manifest. It's time to like get off your duff and start manifesting the life that you want. It's like you're wasting your life right now. This is what the shadow self is saying. Is like you're dicking around and you're wasting your life because you're not manifesting the things that you truly want. You're like living this unconscious, unaware life, and you're not manifesting the things that are available to you because you're being unconscious and because you're not paying attention. What has the divine masculine been missing? Transformation. I mean, again, he's missing the transformation. He's missing the opportunity to be able to transform his life and to be able to transform himself, really, like literally rebuild himself from the ground up, minus all the old unconscious crap that dictates his life. So that's what he's been missing, and this is what his shadow self is trying to say to him. And how has the divine masculine been ignoring the messenger? He is literally ignoring the messenger. It's like I keep getting this like uninterrupted sleep, physical symptoms like anxiety, nightmares, what else is there that's coming through? And just tension, unhappiness, overall sense of being ill at ease. And it's like that's the shadow's way of trying to get his attention. Like, okay, well, maybe if I send you a nightmare, you'll start paying attention. Nope, not today. Well, maybe if I send you like, some kind of sickness to lay you up for a while, I'll be able to get your attention. Nope, you're just ignoring it. And so this is what I really get, is that the shadow self is really sending a lot of messages to try and get through to the divine masculine. The divine masculine just doesn't want to hear it. He is dodging like hell right now. And saying, what is does the shadow self need something from the divine masculine? And if so, what? And the card that is in this position is regret. And so what I read this is the divine masculine needs to get over his regret. He needs to like forgive himself and move the F on from his past. Like the shadow is saying, like, come on, man, like you've been stuck here for so long in guilt and regret and, feeling sorry for yourself and not like moving forward because you feel so much regret. It's time to move on. It's time to let it go. The next position, when was this born? When did the shadow self, this aspect of the shadow self, come into the masculine's awareness, into his consciousness? And it was imagination. So when I read that, I read it as like early in life. So it was like, back when you're a kid, when you're young and you have so much imagination, you can think up 11 billion things in one day, as I think it was Lewis Carroll said in Alice in Wonderland, thinking up impossible things. And so this was born, I feel, in this sense of like regret and being inadequate energy is what it is coming through, was born early in the divine masculine's life. And it's just continuing to, as the saying goes, like it's the tail is wagging the dog instead of the other way around. And how did it grow? How did this shadow aspect grow? With vigilance. And like, what does that mean with vigilance? Well, it's because that the divine masculine has spent a lot of time regretting. It's spent a lot of time feeling like this fundamental sense of shame and not working through those feelings because he's avoiding it. And so it's grown because, unfortunately, he's been vigilant in growing it. He's been really committed to his limitations. I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of people are. I'm in my previous line of work, I was a psychologist, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen people that are completely resistant to their own growth. And that's what's happening here, is that the divine masculine has just been completely vigilant in keeping himself stuck. The next is, what lost part of me do you represent? And this is trickery. And I don't see this card as, in this particular context, as someone that's really playing games. I see it as playfulness. I see it as like, when you're younger and you have the ability to just like be lighthearted and kind of a prankster energy where things aren't so serious all the time. That's what is what this part of the shadow is representing, is the lost part, is that sense of playfulness and trickery, in the sense of being able to be fun and not have to be like the seeing the Joker come up, like, why so serious? Like, have some fun, get back to your playful self, stop limiting yourself, and because there's so much more out there for you, but you have to be willing to allow yourself to be playful again. And this card, what lesson must be learned? And this is spellbound. How I read this, honestly, is that the divine masculine has to get out of his own spell. Like, he has woven himself into this sense of being bound into a particular way of being. He thinks that this is the only way that he can be, and he's avoiding doing the hard work because shit's hard, like I already said. But what lesson he has to learn is that he's not spellbound. He's not stuck. Being spellbound means that like some external force is like working something on you, right? It's somebody casting a spell means that they are doing something to you. So the divine masculine has to understand a couple of things. First of all, any situation is mutable. You can change it let me rephrase, because there are certain things that we can't simply change just because we change our focus or our intention. But there are many things that we can. And so he has to look at, first of all, that this is not something that's happening to him. Okay? He's not bound by anything other than himself. He can change the situation. He can change himself at any point whenever he decides that he's sick and tired of being sick and tired and he wants to move on. That is the reality. So that's the lesson that he has to learn, is that, first of all, that he can take his power back, and that he doesn't have to be a victim anymore. I don't like that word victim necessarily, but I really feel like this sense of powerlessness coming from the masculine, that he just can't, he feels like he can't move forward, he can't do anything. And how he can better understand himself through this shadow aspect is let go of the delusion. So he's been holding on to a lot of delusions about himself, around who he is and what he's capable of and what his limits are and whatnot. And this aspect of his shadow is literally sending an invitation to set himself free and to get out of the delusion. Like, you're not bound, right? This card here, like, you're not bound. You can set yourself free at any time. Like, look at this guy, is like, he's got a little thing and he's tied to a chair. He can set himself free at any time and change his life and engage in the transformation if he were to choose that. But he has to choose it. He has to make that decision for himself. And so once if he were willing, if the divine masculines that are watching this are willing to engage with this aspect of your shadow and deal with this stuff, you'll actually be able to set yourself free of the delusions that have been keeping you bound, the small-minded thinking, the ways in which that you believe that you can't thrive. All of those things are totally within your realm, as long as literally the minute that you decide that you want to do something different, the spell will start breaking, and you'll be set free of your sense of delusion. So anyway, that's this reading for the Shadow Self conversation. I hope it was helpful for you, divine masculines, or for the divine feminines that are watching, to help you understand your masculine a little better. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you back here soon.